Welcome to your deep dive into the world of marketing,
Hmm.
specifically how it can be used as a force for good
Okay.
to guide us on this journey.
All right.
You've provided some very thought-provoking excerpts
Yes.
from Seth Godin's book, This is Marketing.
Godin really challenges the way we think about marketing, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
In fact, he says the real question of marketing is, who can you help?
Right.
That almost makes it sound like a social mission rather than a business strategy.
It is both.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He argues that marketing isn't about manipulation or pushing products.
Yeah.
It's about making change happen.
Hmm.
By understanding and serving the needs of a specific group of people.
So it's about connection and creating real value.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And this leads us to, I think, one of his most interesting concepts,
Okay.
which is the smallest viable market.
Okay.
We often hear about reaching the masses.
Right.
But Godin says that focusing on a smaller, dedicated audience is key.
Okay. So wouldn't reaching more people lead to greater success?
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah. Think of it this way.
Okay.
Trying to appeal to everyone
Mm-hmm.
often results in a watered-down message that resonates with no one.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
It's like trying to be everything to everybody. You end up being nothing to anybody.
exactly. So Godin argues that by identifying the smallest group of people who genuinely care about what you offer,
Yeah.
you can create a deeper connection and foster a sense of belonging.
Like finding your tribe, essentially.
Yes.
And I can see how that would lead to stronger, more sustainable growth.
Exactly, and we have a great example of this.
Okay.
Susan Poover and her Open Heart Project.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, so it started as a small online meditation community and really focused on genuine connection,
Mm-hmm.
and it grew organically into the world's largest meditation community.
Wow. So by serving a niche audience exceptionally well,
Right.
they were able to achieve these remarkable results.
And Godin contrasts this
Okay.
with the mass market approach of someone like Taylor Swift. And while there's nothing wrong with aiming for massive hits,
Yeah.
he points out that the Grateful Dead, with only one top 40 hit,
Really? Just one?
yeah,
Wow.
built this devoted community, generated over $350 million in revenue.
That's a compelling case for depth over breadth.
Yes.
But how do you actually go about finding that core audience?
Well, it starts with empathy,
Okay.
truly understanding your audience's worldview, their beliefs, and their desires.
So it's not about projecting our own assumptions.
Right.
It's about stepping into their shoes
Exactly.
and seeing the world through their eyes.
Precisely. And Godin offers a cautionary tale here.
Oh.
Ron Johnson's failure at JCPenney.
Oh, yeah. What happened there?
He tried to transform the brand based on his personal preferences
Okay.
and ignored the needs and expectations of their core customer base.
Oh, so it was a costly mistake.
Yes, very costly.
That highlights the importance of really understanding your audience
Absolutely.
before making any significant changes.
Yes, and he suggests that we try creating personas.
Persona?
Think of it like creating characters
Right.
to represent different segments of your audience.
Mhm.
So you might have Bargain Bill, who's highly price sensitive,
Okay.
or Hurried Henry, who values convenience above all else.
That's a really clever way to visualize
Yes,
the different motivations that people bring to their purchasing decisions.
exactly.
Yeah, and it makes it much easier to tailor your message and your offerings
Right,
to resonate with those specific needs.
exactly. And then he goes a step further
Okay.
and challenges us to understand why people who don't buy from us are actually making rational choices.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we want to focus on attracting new customers?
Well, it's not about ignoring potential customers.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that their choices can give us valuable insights.
I see.
So understanding why someone might choose a competitor
Mm-hmm.
can help us refine our focus and identify what makes us unique.
So we're sharpening our message by looking at it from the outside in.
Exactly.
Very interesting.
By understanding why someone might choose an alternative,
Okay.
we can better define our unique value proposition and clarify who we are truly serving.
Now that we understand how crucial it is to know our audience,
Yes.
how do we make sure they understand us?
This is where positioning comes in.
Okay.
Carving out a distinct space in the market and avoiding becoming just another generic option.
Right.
So Godin introduces a method called the XY grid to help us visualize this.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this XY grid.
Okay, so imagine a grid with two axes.
Right.
And these axes represent qualities that people care about
Mm-hmm.
It could be price, convenience, sustainability,
Okay.
whatever's relevant to your offering.
Mm-hmm.
And then you plot your product or service and its competitors on this grid.
Right, I'm following you.
Let's say you're transporting diamonds.
Okay.
You could have speed on one axis and security on the other.
All right, so we might have an armored car, fast but expensive.
Right.
And then the postal service. Slower but more affordable.
Exactly. And by plotting these options,
Yeah.
you can see where each one stands in relation to the others.
Okay.
And the goal is to find your edges,
Yeah.
the qualities that make you stand out,
Okay.
and become the obvious choice for your specific audience.
So it's not about being the best in every category,
Right.
but rather being the best in the categories that matter most to your target market.
Exactly. You want to be the standout option, the
Hmm.
one that naturally fits their needs and preferences.
Right.
That's what makes you irresistible to the right people.
This makes so much sense.
Good.
Now that we've carved out our unique position,
Mhm.
where do we go from here?
Well, it's all about building trust.
Trust is essential in any strong relationship,
Right.
but especially in the world of marketing.
Yes.
It's about building that foundation of authenticity and reliability.
Absolutely. Godin highlights the connection between trust and another key concept,
Okay.
tension.
Tension.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the kind of tension you find in a thriller movie.
Right, not the edge of your seat kind of tension.
Exactly.
So what does he mean by tension in marketing?
He's referring to the gap between where people are now
Okay.
and where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing works by creating a desire for something better
Mm-hmm.
and positioning your product or service as the bridge to get there.
So it's about understanding those aspirations
Right.
and presenting a solution
Yes.
that helps people achieve their goals.
Exactly. And stories
Right.
are incredibly powerful tools for bridging that gap.
How
So
so?
tap into our emotions,
Okay.
help us connect with something larger than ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately inspire action.
So rather than just selling products,
Right.
we're selling a transformation,
Yes.
a story of how our offering can improve people's lives.
You got to think of it as selling a feeling,
Okay.
an experience. Godin talks about the power of status and how effective marketing often leverages the question,
Okay.
do people like me do things like this?
I see.
And he uses this fascinating example of Leela Hazza, a conservation biologist,
Okay.
who wanted to save the lions of Kenya.
What an interesting challenge.
It is.
How do you market lion conservation?
Right.
It doesn't exactly sound like a typical product.
It wasn't, Hazza recognized that for many Maasai warriors,
Okay.
killing a lion was a rite of passage,
Oh, wow.
a symbol of bravery,
Yeah.
deeply ingrained in their culture.
I can see how that would make conservation efforts very difficult.
They,
Challenging deeply held traditions is never easy.
it's not, so instead of fighting that tradition head on,
Okay.
Hazza worked within it.
Oh, okay.
She helped the warriors see that saving a lion,
Mhm.
protecting their environment,
Okay.
could be even more meaningful than killing one.
So she shifted the status associated with lions
Exactly.
from a symbol of conquest
Yeah.
to a symbol of responsibility
Mhm.
and guardianship. That's brilliant.
It is. It highlights the power of understanding cultural values
Mhm.
and working with them
Yeah.
to achieve positive change.
Absolutely.
And it leads us to another important point Godin makes.
So-
Permission
Permission.
and generosity in marketing.
Permission marketing. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Is it simply about being polite and asking before you try to sell something?
Well, it's more than just being polite.
Okay.
It's about earning the right to communicate with people who
Mm.
genuinely want to hear from you.
Okay.
Spamming or manipulating people into paying attention
Right.
is counterproductive in the long run.
Yeah. No one likes to be tricked.
Nope. So instead, it's about building an audience of true fans
True fans.
who actively choose to engage with your work.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
So it's about fostering genuine interest and respect
Yes.
rather than forcing our message on people.
Exactly. But how do you go about building that kind of loyal following?
Right. How do you do that?
By consistently offering value
Okay.
and respecting your audience's time and attention.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a great example of this, Tumabasa,
Okay.
and his work with the Rap Caviar playlist on Spotify.
Oh, I've heard of that playlist.
Yeah.
It's hugely influential in the music industry.
It is Basa curated the best new hip hop,
Okay.
creating a space where Fans felt seen and heard,
Mm-hmm.
so he earned their trust and they eagerly awaited each new installment.
So it became a powerful force in the industry,
It did.
all because he focused on serving a specific audience exceptionally well.
Exactly. Another example of how focusing on a niche
Right.
can lead to incredible success.
But this brings us to two concepts
Yes.
that often trip up creators and businesses.
Yeah, they...
The long tail and the chasm.
Okay.
Tell me more about these concepts.
Okay, so the long tail refers to the vast majority of creators and businesses
Okay.
who have a smaller, dedicated audience.
Mm-hmm.
Gaining momentum in the long tail can be challenging because it often requires consistent effort and patience.
Right.
And the chasm
Okay.
refers to the gap between serving those early adopters and reaching a mainstream market.
So how do you cross that chasm? Is
Yeah.
there a secret formula?
Well, there's no magic formula, unfortunately.
Okay.
But success often hinges on understanding the needs of both groups
Okay, both groups. So the early adopters and...
and the mass market,
Right.
those who are excited by novelty
Mm,
and those who are looking for social proof and reliability.
mm.
You need products and marketing that appeal to both.
So you need to bridge that gap, essentially.
Yeah, and a great example of this
Okay.
is the story of HugDug, a website that allowed people to create Pinterest-style pages to
Okay.
raise money for charity.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
It does.
What happened?
Well, it attracted early adopters
Okay.
who loved the novelty,
Hmm.
but it failed to cross the chasm
Oh, no, why?
because it didn't create enough tension or incentive for people to spread the word.
So the broader audience wasn't compelled to join the movement.
No, they weren't.
It's a good reminder that even with the best intentions,
Right?
success isn't guaranteed.
No.
You really need to understand the psychology of your audience.
Yes,
What motivates them to take action?
exactly. And this leads to Godin's final point:
Okay.
authenticity and emotional labor in marketing.
It's not just about creativity and fun.
No, it's not.
Emotional labor, it sounds like marketing requires more empathy
Yes,
and effort
it does.
than we might initially realize.
Absolutely. Godin emphasizes that hiding behind a corporate facade
Mhm.
or using manipulative tactics
Right.
will ultimately erode trust.
Yeah. People can see through that.
Effective marketing involves showing up authentically
Okay.
and providing genuine value.
So it's about being real,
Yes.
being human,
Mm-hmm.
and genuinely caring about the people we're serving.
Exactly. And this brings us back to the idea
Okay.
that marketing can be a force for good. It's not about selling something you don't believe in.
Mm-hmm.
It's about making a genuine difference in the world.
I like that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about understanding our audience,
Right.
finding our unique position,
Yes.
but how do we actually translate all of this into marketing that really resonates and makes a difference
Okay.
without resorting to those manipulative tactics?
It goes back to understanding the deeper desires
Yep.
and aspirations of your audience.
Mm-hmm.
Godin suggests that while each person is unique,
Right.
we all share these common desires.
Okay, like what?
Connection, belonging,
Okay.
status, peace of mind.
Mm.
The key is to understand how your offering helps people achieve those desires.
So it's less about promoting features and benefits
Right.
and more about tapping into those deeper emotional needs.
Exactly.
We're selling a transformation, not just a product.
You got, and this is where testing becomes crucial.
Okay, testing.
Godin encourages us to experiment,
Okay.
to try new things, see what resonates with our audience.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to fail,
Right.
because each experiment,
Yeah.
even the ones that don't work,
Mm-hmm.
teaches you something valuable.
So it's an iterative process
It is.
of learning, adapting, and refining your approach.
Based on real feedback, exactly.
Good Garden uses an example
Yes.
of a resort called the Apinnicon.
The Apinnicon.
They could charge a lot more for their ice cream cones,
Okay.
but they choose not to.
Interesting. Why is that?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a very profitable strategy.
Well, it's because they're thinking beyond the immediate transaction.
Okay.
They're selling an experience,
Hmm.
a memory, a feeling of delight.
Mm-hmm.
And that affordable ice cream contributes to that overall experience.
So it's about creating that positive emotional association, a
Yes.
sense of generosity,
Right.
even if it means sacrificing a bit of profit in the short term.
Exactly. It's about considering the bigger picture
Okay.
and understanding what truly matters to your audience.
This is really making me rethink my whole approach.
Good.
It also highlights another important point Godin makes:
What's that?
the need for frequency.
Frequency.
When you say frequency, are we talking about how often we post on social media?
Well, it's broader than that.
Okay.
It's about showing up consistently
Okay.
and delivering value to your audience. It's
Yeah.
about being patient and persistent,
Right.
even when you don't see immediate results.
And I think this is where a lot of people give up.
They do.
Too soon, they try something once,
Right.
it doesn't work, they
Yeah.
move on.
Godin calls this the dip.
The dip.
That gap between when we get bored
Okay.
and when our audience actually starts to get the message.
Oh, that's a good point.
We need to push through that initial frustration
Right.
and keep showing up consistently.
So it's about trusting the process,
Yes.
believing in the long-term value
Yeah.
of consistent effort.
And that consistency is especially important when it comes to earning permission.
Right. Permission marketing.
We're not blasting our message to anyone who will listen. We're carefully cultivating an audience.
Right.
People who genuinely want to hear from us.
Exactly. And Godin emphasizes building your own platform,
Yes.
your own permission asset,
Right.
rather than relying on those social media algorithms.
Exactly. Because they can change at any moment.
Right. It's like you said earlier, owning your audience,
Yes.
not renting it.
Exactly. He contrasts this with traditional advertising, which
Right.
he calls interruption marketing.
Interrupting people with ads they didn't ask for.
Exactly.
It's not very respectful.
No.
And it's becoming less and less effective.
It is. Godin argues that the best way to earn attention
Okay.
is through generosity,
Okay.
offering genuine value, building relationships based on trust.
So we're not tricking people into paying attention.
No.
We're earning it.
You got it. And that's where storytelling comes in once again.
Yes. Storytelling.
We're not just selling products. We're selling stories that resonate with people's desires, aspirations, and fears.
Godin encourages us to think about the story of self,
Yes.
the story of us, and the story of now.
Okay. Can you break those down?
Yeah. What are those?
Okay. So the story of self is about your own journey,
Okay.
your own transformation.
Mhm.
What makes you unique?
Okay.
What challenges have you overcome?
Right.
What lessons have you learned?
Mm.
Sharing your vulnerability, your human experience
Right.
helps you connect with people on a deeper level.
So it's about being real and relatable,
Yes.
not presenting a polished facade.
Exactly. The story of us focuses on how your offering helps people connect with others and build community.
So it taps into that innate human need
It does.
for connection and belonging.
Exactly. And finally, the story of now
Okay.
emphasizes the urgency of the message.
Okay. The
Why is
urgency.
this important right now? What's at stake? What will people miss out on if they don't act?
So it creates that sense of momentum, a reason to jump on board,
Exactly.
to be part of something important.
So by weaving together these three stories, self, us, and now,
Right.
you create this powerful narrative that resonates with your audience
Yes.
and motivates them to take action.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
It's really reframed how I think about marketing.
Good.
It's not just about selling.
Right.
It's about making a difference.
And that's the essence of Seth Godin's message.
Yes.
Marketing can be a force for good
Yeah.
when we focus on understanding people,
Okay.
earning their trust, and creating positive change in the world.
As we wrap up, what's one key takeaway
Okay.
you want our listener to remember from this deep dive?
Marketing is about making change happen.
Okay.
And that change starts with understanding and serving a specific group of people.
Find your people.
Find your smallest viable market,
Right.
understand their needs deeply, and create something truly valuable for them.
And don't forget to tell their story.
Absolutely. Craft a narrative that resonates with their aspirations, fears, and desires.
Yes.
Earn their trust,
Okay.
and you'll earn their attention.
And who knows, you might just change the world in the process.
You might.
That's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
But before we go,
Yes.
I want to leave you with a final thought.
All right.
If you were to choose one small group of people to make a real difference for, who would it be?
Think about it.
And what change would you create for them?
That might just be the start of your own marketing revolution.